Greetings to you, goddess. Come on in. Let's sit down and chat. We're going to talk about the weekly astrology and bring your goddess beverage. I have coffee. Let me know what you're drinking. You may want to get your beverage, something to snuggle up with if you're in a colder place. Maybe your journal and take a few notes. We're going to talk about the astrology for the week. Yeah. First, we love the groove here. The goddess, body, mind, spirit, don't we? Astrology and music. Oracles and music. Greetings to you all. I'm Tirra Omilade, your goddess guru, your sister friend, and I love helping women along with their life purpose using the power of ancient wisdom and the goddess-centered lifestyle. And yeah, like I said, we're going to come in and talk a little bit about the astrology. I hope everyone is doing well. This is a recording. Here lately, I feel a little bit burned out, so I'm working to manage my energy. And so I'm not going live right now, but that doesn't mean I'm not making videos. So yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the astrology. Today is October the 22nd. We'll look at the astrology moving into next week. And yeah, how was that new moon for you? Did you set intentions? It's not too late. It's never too late. We had that new moon in Libra on October 21st. And I did put a video out about that one. So hopefully you saw it. Again, I'm managing my energy, y'all. And so I took part of the video that I put in my Soul Alchemy membership, or two videos that I put in the Soul Alchemy membership, and put them together to give y'all a snippet from those videos. It's pretty rich. I was like, wow, 28 minutes. Okay. Which is short for me, but still, I wanted to make sure I did my part to help you to understand the new moon. So set those intentions, write it down, write it down, write it down. I do believe in writing down your, putting your intentions somewhere digitally. If you record them digitally first, take time to pull out however you recorded them, and use your hands, pen to paper, pencil to paper, to write out those intentions. Everything is playing out sort of like I thought it would, with all of this air energy being highlighted. So we've had Pluto in Aquarius almost for a full year, with where it's there for good. It's not moving backwards into another sign. We've had Uranus in Gemini. Jupiter was in Gemini. And, we have all this energy highlighting in Libra right now. We also have that energy in Aries, innovation. Okay. So my thought was, when we first started looking at this a few years back, people are going to need more in-person contact. People need to go outside more. With all of this technology, you have to make sure that you stay connected to your humanity. Even me, as an early adopter, when it comes to a lot of things, I adopt early. With Chat GPT, it's just like, no, it's like a very specific way I want to use Chat GPT now. Initially, I was just like, wow, this is just so amazing. You can train Chat GPT in a really good way. But I just thought, this thing is starting to kind of suck my own creativity from me, So no matter what, we need to do human things more than ever. And when it comes to your goals and the things that you want to manifest, you got to do it in a human way. Pen to paper. I also see that this technological world, to a certain degree, is making us all way more anxious. And so again, I really want you to write down your feelings in a journal or piece of paper. Tear it up if you don't want anyone to see what you've written down. But it's not about necessarily, I mean, if you can look at it and go back and look at it, it's very helpful to do so. But more than anything, it helps to get out the tension and the stress. I'm very much into doing energy work, really manipulating the body to help discharge. So again, it's manipulation of the physical. We cannot forget we are physical beings, okay? So I want you to make sure that you are setting your goals and your intentions in a way that aligns with you being a human. Let's see here. What else did I want to tell you about that? I thought something else was there, but maybe it'll come back to me. So let me pull up the let's see here. How are we going to do this? Yeah, we'll do it that way. I want to look at this astrology. When I looked at the monthly astrology, which I actually watched that video again the other day, um, I was like, wow, this is on point. I kind of felt like the first half of the month would be a little bit more challenging than the second half of the month. But I didn't take into consideration Chiron. There is something happening with Chiron. Um, so this could feel a little bit challenging also. At least, yeah, it could just feel challenging. Because there's an interaction between Jupiter and Chiron. For those who don't know what Chiron is, it's the wounded healer. It's the part of ourselves that it's almost like the way I think about the wounded healer is if it's almost like a flaw or some wounding that perhaps you've received and you don't know if you'll ever be able to get past it. It'll always kind of feel like a ding. Um, it's almost like a scar, but you know it's there. You might be paranoid that other people can see it. It may manifest itself at times, showing up as your wounding. And the thing about Chiron is there is a high level of acceptance. Like with Chiron, you don't need to strive because if this thing never gets healed up, you still have to learn how to make meaning of your life. It's a large part of embracing that part of yourself that lacks perfection. But you can do so much good. Your medicine a lot of times will stem from your Chiron because where the wounded healer, has received that wound, they are the one that to a certain degree that creates a level of healing because that's what happened. This wounded healer never got healed up, but he was able to help a lot of other people in spite of his own wounding. And so that's sort of like one of the greatest lessons we can get from Chiron. It's really embracing Chiron is really one of the best remedies for moving past perfectionism because Chiron will remind you there is no perfectionism when it comes to who we are, other than just embracing I'm perfectly imperfect, and that's how I was meant to be. So we're having an interaction between Jupiter and Chiron, and it can have a lot of us looking at ourselves and really feeling that wound. It could be around the body, it could be around your identity, who you know yourself to be. You could find yourself crying quite a bit. Some of this could be connected to the ancestors or your ancestral lineage or some group that you may be part of that is has received some type of wounding, say for instance women. So with this, it's like to a certain degree the wisdom is in, say for instance, your lineage, maybe the lessons from the ancestors, and it could be studying something in history and reading about someone who overcame. They were imperfect. They had some type of Chiron thing going on, but they were still able to fully live out their life and their destiny. The person that just came to me is Harriet Tubman and how she had epilepsy. Yeah, she got wounded as a kid and then that epilepsy just kind of stuck with her, and she was able to get herself free. She was able to free hundreds of other people. And so this is the thing that we might need to be looking at: historical figures who, against all odds, they just made a decision. I'm going to live out my destiny. I'm going to live out my purpose. I think a cautionary tale could be studying the ones who were not actually able to move past their flaws, and looking to see, well, how could they have done this differently? I'm thinking about David Ruffin. These examples are just coming to me, and maybe you have some that you can share. But, David Ruffin grew up hard and from the Temptations, and he black man in America during a time where, Jim Crow was like in full effect. And I don't remember all of the details, but I do know he had a lot of things that had hurt him. And fame does have a way of amplifying. Fame and money has a way of amplifying what's already there. One of the greatest singers, I think, ever, but for sure is a part of the Temptations. There was no other David Ruffin, not one. And his downfall just, he just could not get past the wounding. He just could not do it. And so, no matter how much they tried to help him or whatever, the cautionary tale is kind of like, hey, and in let me just say this. In the Kemetic tradition that I study, there is called the dark decease. And the dark deceased hang around us because they can see our light and they're trying to get unstuck. These are ancestors that did not run to the light, they ran away from the light. So they're stuck between the physical and the ancestor world. And so, what they do for us when they hang around us is they highlight what is off, or what caused them to become a dark deceased. And so that's the kind of thing that I want us to be thinking about, like when we're studying people in history, and maybe you go look for it, or maybe it just kind of shows up. It could be in a movie, someone's having a conversation, you're reading something, and it's almost like spirit, the great mother is trying to speak to you and give you a message about it because you can relate to the person so much. And it's like, hey, this is what happened. Look at what they could have done differently. And now you take this as your lesson, the medicine that you need to do the same for yourself. And I think that more than anything, stepping into a high level of self love, self acceptance, granting yourself a lot of grace would be beautiful. And doing your best to see yourself outside of this limited box that you may be in. You may even find this week, and I'll even say into next week, well, for the next couple of weeks, that you are um, feeling out of your comfort zone. And that's when we largely will begin to feel all of the like, oh my gosh, it's like, I'm scared, and it feels terrible. It feels terrible. But yeah, so I want y'all to don't panic if you're one of the ones who's feeling like maybe you're in an identity crisis, your wounding is high, you're just feeling off. Don't think anything, like you're one of many because of this transit that's asking us to take that time to look at what's actually coming up for us. So, yeah, this week I think could be a little bit of it can be a little tricky. I will say that there is another energy that is about, perspective, seeing things from a bigger picture, maybe being able to see a vision for yourself. Also, maybe it's something about doing a deep dive into yourself, doing some type of deep healing work, but maybe it's going to be to the mind. You really want to heal up the mind. With all of this air energy that we've had going on, a lot of us are feeling overtaxed in our minds. It's interesting because one of the Odu that I love to talk about is Obara. And Obara is this Odu that has to do with overthinking. And it's about you got to do something. So what I want to just offer to you all is to do something healing for your body. To do some type of movement, or energy work, massage, whatever it is you need to do, but move that body in order to get the mind healed up or get it flowing so that it's not just like backed up. But I just encourage you to make sure what are you doing to keep your mind lifted? How many of us, I'm guilty of this, I'm working on it day in and day out, but how many of us are just too plugged into things that are negative? They're not uplifting. To a certain degree, they may be mindless. What is it that you're doing to help your mind be more expansive? Um, it optimistic, hopeful, having a lot of faith. But I think it's gonna really come from, like, how are you caring for your mind? So, maybe you want to do a mindfulness practice. I love hypnosis. Whenever I use my hypnosis tracks, it helps to calm my mind down, but you know, I even have an, hypnosis for anxiety. So, as I make this, I'm taking a mental note, I will go and just put a sale on that one. So you can buy it and, use it profusely. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, it's a lot going over here today in Scorpio. So Scorpio makes us it brings in a lot of depth. It brings in this ability to get hyper focused in on something. It's very good for research and doing a deep dive. So today, this is Wednesday, October 22nd, might be one of those days since the moon is there. The moon will probably be there until tomorrow. Another thing that we have going on is Neptune has moved back into Pisces. Was that today? So, wow. Neptune has moved back into Pisces, and it's on the 29th degree, which is called an anaretic degree. So Pisces is already one of these signs that can have you experiencing otherworldly stuff. It can have you experiencing things like scams and being taken advantage of. So be cautious around that. But it's about loss. It's about being connected to spirit. Um, but it's being connected to the part of spirit or the part of the reality that is unseen. It's the sign where right before we come into manifestation, that's Pisces, because Aries is the sign where it's new beginning. So we die in Pisces. It's like this ultimate release and liberation that happens in Pisces. And it's this energy of surrender, being connected to spirit, and having a high level of trust and faith in the spirit. And so, with Neptune going on to this 29th degree for one last time, this planet that has been there, I think, since 2012, that's a long freaking time for us to have a planet in one sign, right? So for it to have been there for that long, except for this little bit of time that it's been in Aries, it's like we're wrapping things up. We're tying up loose ends. But this is very karmic, okay? Make no mistake about it. Neptune and Pisces is about the illusion. So I don't know if the illusion is being burst for you, or if like, maybe you have been lost in this illusion. To me, this is like I'm lost. I don't know where I am. I can't be found. To a certain degree, this is why we have to really lean on spirit. It's also this energy that is like, I'm lost, I'm being taken advantage of, I'm a part of a cult, I'm just out there floating. I might be to a certain degree out of my mind. A lot of times this is kind of associated with drugs, but drugs are not just things that are like chemicals that we take in. Anything can be a drug, right? So addictions, it has to do with addictions. That's probably the better way to say it. And maybe you've been working on releasing something, letting something go, so that you can just be completely and totally become a new person. And and now you're going to be revisiting the last parts of this. Now we have to remember Neptune is a outer planet, so we will see a lot happening on the global level. We can attribute Neptune. I can tell you one of the things Neptune definitely had something to do with is when we had the pandemic, that particular thing. And then, so it can have to do with sicknesses and illnesses. I'm not saying it's going to bring that back. I'm just showing y'all the effect of this outer planet on society. And for us here in the United States, forever and always, this planet, in 2024, this planet was on the 29th degree or close to it for quite a while. So, yeah, but by the time 2024 ended, I was just like, Neptune, you got to go. You got to go. This 29th degree is no joke. And I just think it's interesting. I know today, eventually, the sun is going to move into Scorpio. It's not there yet. Right now, the sun is on the 29th degree of Libra. Okay. Oh, let me see here. When does the sun move into Scorpio? That's why when people are born on the cusp, either you one or the other, baby. You just need to know your time of birth to know for sure. Let's check together. The sun moves in at almost midnight, Eastern time. Okay. So the majority of today, we're going to have two planets on the 29th degree. I don't all the time see things happening that stand out to me when the sun is on the 29th degree. But the fact that the sun is there and Neptune is also on the 29th degree of their respective signs is that's kind of telling. I wonder what will happen. Is anything going to show up today? Now, this 29th degree in Libra, this has something to do with relationships, peace, harmony, or lack thereof. With it being the 29th degree, it's a little bit of a degree of chaos. So we may not experience peace and harmony. And it could be something, some karmic relationship comes to the forefront. I can tell you, if you meet someone today and you're smitten with them, just say, you know what? Pause. I'll talk to you tomorrow. um, but yeah, some karmic relationship may surface, or it's it may not be a new one. What if it could be somebody from your past? It's like, I haven't thought about this person in forever. Why am I thinking about this person? It's interesting because I had a weird dream. And so Neptune is Pisces in that house of dreaming. We have Saturn there. And so maybe it's something has come up in your dreams. Um, so yeah, and maybe there's something you need to get started and it involves someone else. It hasn't gotten started and you just like, forget it. We're going to go on ahead and get it going. We're just going to do this. So yeah, I think today could be extremely karmic. And let's see here. What else do I want to say? I think that's all I want to say about that. So the sun goes into Scorpio. We will have to have a Scorpio dance party. Happy birthday to all of the Scorpios, to the Happy New Year to the Scorpio moons and risings. This is your season. Y'all enjoy it. Enjoy, because it's Scorpio season. But Scorpio brings in the darkness, and Scorpios are proud of it. Scorpios are like, yeah, you know what? We're dark and we know it. Look, Scorpio is also like, we're sexy and we know it, even though they won't be telling the whole world that, because Scorpio don't want you to know their business. But we're going into this season of the ancestors and doing these deep dives and going into the depths and the darkness. And, we go into Halloween and honoring the ancestors and the Day of the Dead, all of these, I don't know if they're holidays, but these special days where holy days maybe, where we are honoring the darkness of the world. And so, to me, it's like a really powerful time for those of us who are into the goddess, into witchy things, and working with the divine feminine, working with the dark feminine. So, use this as a time to Scorpio is very spiritual. So use this as a time to deepen your spirituality. But a lot of this depth that we're doing is sort of like looking at the ancient ways, things that are a little bit taboo, and really studying them. So yeah, we got just for a few days, we'll have 3 planets together in Scorpio, and then we'll have 2 for a little while. So that brings in that part of Scorpio. Scorpio can be challenging. It's definitely healing, okay? Because Scorpio is like, where's your worst wound? It could be stinky and liquid coming out of it. Scorpio is like, yeah, that one right there. Let's work on that one, right? So yeah, definitely can be a time for healing. And another thing too is it helps with the psychology, can help you with the psyche. If you're feeling like you need some, psychological support, it can help you there. Oh, and it wants to purge. So let's say you want to do a cleanse of some sort. Scorpio is always good for cleansing, and it matches the energy, other energies in the chart in Pisces and Virgo that are about cleansing and releasing and purification and those kinds of things. So I think the Scorpio season could be a really good time if you need to do that. It's also about money. So you may have some financial topics come up like taxes and debt. Maybe it's kind of like you want to apply for a loan or you want to pay off a loan, something like that. Grants, scholarships, fellowships is really good for that kind of thing. So yeah, next is the sun is going to square Pluto as soon as it goes into um Scorpio. The sun is going to begin to bump up against Pluto. And some of this might have to do with like, are we connected in our power? We tapped in and in tune to our power. And some of it may be wanting to keep your power in light of, what society is saying you should have or not have or whatever. Um, because Scorpio wants to be itself. Scorpio cannot stand being anything other than what it is. The sun is like the energy of the ego, and then Pluto is about empowerment, but it's giving the power to the masses. And so, or society. And so society you might just be thinking, I don't care what they're doing in society. I'm just going to do what I want to do. But, it'll just be a short time, maybe 3 days or so that we feel this way. Let's see here. Maybe, yeah, for sure the 23rd, the 24th, 25th, maybe around that time you'll feel that way. But then Mercury is creating this beautiful energy. So Mercury is in Scorpio. And so it's going to connect with Jupiter and Saturn, which is beautiful. It'll be a time where we'll feel this is the let's see here, maybe starting around the 23rd to about the 26th. Um Mercury will be with Saturn and Jupiter creating this energy. It could be healing, it could be you feeling this growth, this expansion, highly intuitive. You could be getting some spiritual downloads. This is definitely more feminine energy because we haven't had a lot of that here lately. So it's like we're getting into the feminine a lot during this time. A lot of energy around taking care of the self. Those would be good days for that. Okay, and then Mars is going to have the exact same type of energy, but this will be so I guess we'll feel this feminine energy pretty strongly through about the 29th or the 30th of October. It'll just feel healing and intuitive, uh, this nurturance and self care. Some type of blessing will come. One thing, this is what I was trying to remember, I wanted to say about Neptune. Neptune and the sign of Pisces also brings miracles. As much as I cannot stand Neptune on the 29th degree of Pisces, one thing I can say is still we can get some miracles. And with all the feminine energy being highlighted for the rest of this week into next, we can expect some miracles also. So keep yourself open to receiving a miracle. I will say, there it could bring some energy the 27th through the 29th. Mars connecting with Jupiter, we may have a lot of energy. With the Jupiter energy being highlighted, for people who've been feeling a little bit down, um, you may start feeling a little more hopeful, your mood may be elevated. Jupiter goes retrograde on November the 11th. So yeah. So it's not retrograde yet, so it can help to elevate our moods. I will say just a little bit of a teaser on the 20th, and you'll see me looking up it. I have this on my wall. On the 20th of October, Mercury went into its shadow period because we'll be having Mercury retrograde start on November the 9th. It's going to start in Sagittarius and go back into Pisces. So just know that we're gearing up for Mercury retrograde. And once it goes into Sagittarius on the 29th of October, that's a time where I want everybody to be on your P's and your Q's. Thankfully, we have a lot of Scorpio energy because Scorpio is fixed and doesn't have you out there floating like Pisces. Scorpio is like, no, I'm taking everything in. Okay. Everyone is going to have to tell me their name. I'm looking to see, are you on my list? And, do I work with you or don't I work with you? I want y'all to be like that. I want you starting on the 29th of October, I'm going to need everybody to be on their P's and Q's because we're going to have a lot of mutable energy and Mercury's going retrograde in a mutable sign. That just means a lot of scamming can happen. We can be taken advantage of, lied to, lose stuff. So, back up your laptops and your phones. And we got to slow it down. We got to be more deliberate. If somebody asks us to do something, if we cannot explain it 100%, then I want you to say, pause, and I'm going to have somebody else look at this with me. So I'm not making any agreements until I know what I'm signing my name on. All right. Um, you know, yeah, Scorpio does give us a little bit of a chance to be more like we're pacing ourselves because Scorpio is a fixed sign, and fixed signs, they like to move methodically. They don't like to move super fast. I need to know everything before I do anything. I need to see what's going on. So I want y'all to really lean into that fixity and slow down, just train yourself now, even in the shadow period of Mercury retrograde, train yourself. I'm slowing down and I am going to just do my best to, like if I'm on my phone, I'm like, I really am paying attention. I'm not distracted. I'm not listening to two, three things at one time. I'm focused before I press send, or hit that link that could be, something that's super scammy. So I think that I have driven that home. And so, yeah, I think that's what I have for you all this week. I'm going to take this out of here. I wish y'all a beautiful, beautiful week. Thank you all so much for being here. It is my hope that I have shared something today that has been helpful to you, even if it's just a couple of things. That is good. That is good. Sometimes we're not going to just be able to take it all in at one time, but you got something to work with this week and you're good. So I will see you in the next video. I appreciate you so much. And yeah, y'all have a great week. Feel free to get on my email list if you're not there. I do my best to always share content that is helpful and has some type of depth to it. We don't all the time need a lot. I have learned people actually don't want a lot. They just want something that's potent. And that's what I strive to do for you all. So I would love it if you would join me on my email list. But yeah, like the video. Oh, I have this little thing right here that they gave us. I think it's so hilarious that I get into these little things, but watch this. Yeah, like and subscribe. And hit the reminder bell also. I never think to do it because it's new and I didn't create it. It was given to me by StreamYard. But anywho, it really means a lot to me when you all watch the videos and when people comment or give a thumbs up. This is not something that I say just because I'm on YouTube. It actually means a huge amount to me. So thank y'all so much. I wish you all a wonderful rest of your week. And yeah, let's just take it out here just same way we came in. All right. I love y'all. Y'all take care. Blessings of the goddess be upon you and yours now and always.